Hello, this is the Ramblings of an Indisciple Mind podcast for Thursday, February 14th, 2016. So, I've been watching videos by this guy on YouTube. I don't know that I've mentioned him before. A guy by the name of Josh Jepson. He's young. He's probably younger than my daughter is. But he does a bunch of gameplay videos. I actually watched through his whole Fallout 3 series, and he's a bit of an idiot sometimes. As far as, I'm looking for this, and I'm like screaming at the screen, it's right there, it's right there, it's right there. But I don't know, something about it. I do enjoy his commentary, and I recognize the fact that it's one thing to be sitting there and just watching it or playing it even. It's another thing to be playing it and keeping up with commentary at the same time. But he had, there was a game that he was going through that the thumbnails were just so beautiful. I had to check it out. And it's a game called Ori and the Blind Forest. It's what's known as a 2D platform game, which means that your character just kind of stays in the center of the screen, and it might go up and down and left and right, but it's you aren't you as the person controlling it, or this camera that's away from them, and you're watching them do stuff and you're controlling them. But it's there's never any forward or backward movement. There's no way to be first person with it. It's all third person. And they are not my cup of tea. I do not like those games. I don't like playing them. I don't really like watching them. They're just not what I'm interested in. But I watched the first episode of this, and I ended up watching the whole series. This game is gorgeous. So I don't know who developed it. I think it's a smaller indie publisher. But the basic story is that you have this tree that's kind of the source of light for the whole forest. And there was a storm one day, and a piece of its light, which is represented as like a leaf, gets blown away from the tree. The tree isn't holding on quite tight enough, and it gets blown away. And it ends up far away from the tree, and it turns into this little character called Ori. O-R-I, by the way, is how that's spelled. But the tree is missing its little chunk of light. Ori has been befriended by this creature that is inhabiting a part of the forest, and they live together, helping each other out. It's kind of a parent-child kind of relationship a little bit. And the tree is looking for him. So the tree at one point emits this great light in the night to try to call Ori back home, and actually the friend wouldn't let Ori go. But then for some reason, this great owl, whose name was something like Karu or something like that, came and stole the light away from the tree. And that, in essence, kind of made the tree kind of dormant, I guess would be the good word for it. And the whole forest and the area around it kind of falls into ruin. And then the friend gets killed, and Ori must go on this quest to return to the tree and return the forest back to what it was, and that's the game. It is, as I said, it's a really beautiful game. You're going through they got different areas. They're kind of like levels, but they're like different areas of the forest, and it's it's all one big hole, and you might be over here for a bit off to the right, and you might be off to the left or down below, and in the middle is the big tree. You you've got a bunch of different. You can jump, you can run. You've got weapons that you can use, and then over the course of time, you gather energy. There's energy crystals. You gather those, and those give you the ability to open certain doors and do certain things. And you level up. You earn abilities. And then you can get things like you can do a double jump. So you can jump once, and then while you're in midair, you can jump again. And that'll enable you to get higher stuff, higher things. And there's just all these multi-level things. You're going up, and you're going down, you're going underwater. And it is just a gorgeous game. It is just perfectly gorgeous. It's so it's forest, so it's all, the first few levels are kind of got a bluish tint to them. You've got some there. You got one that's kind of like kind of an orangish. There's this one that was really, really spooky. It was called the Misty Forest, and there was this mist over everything, understandably. And when you get into that section, there's a little bit of cinematics between major sections, and there is some slight narration, and you get words in English on the screen, but there's a voice that reads them that kind of sounds like Cecil B. DeMille's God voice, if you've seen Ten Commandments, but it's not speaking in English. So I don't know if it's an actual language or if they kind of like made up a language for this. It's supposed to be the language of the forest. This isn't supposed to be anywhere in our world. So they get to the Misty Forest, and it's like the mist confuses everyone's minds, or all minds, or something like that. And then what will happen is, as Ori's moving through this, as he gets to a certain section, when he has to go back, it's different. It was really neat. There was like a kind of a sound and a shifting noise you get, so you knew that when you went back that way, that hey, something's going to be different. But yeah, it was just a gorgeous game. And even though I've watched the whole thing, I've seen the whole game, I actually went and looked to see how what platforms it's available for, as far as mainly to see if I can get it for the Xbox. And alas, it is only available for the Xbox One. It is. It's only $20 for the Xbox One, so it's not terribly expensive. It's not available for the 360, so I obviously will not be playing it anytime soon. But yeah, I'd recommend checking it out. Maybe look at a video and just see the artistry of this game. It is really beautiful. And even they got a number of challenges. You've got all these different creatures that are trying to kill you, and some of them you have to kind of use your resources against them. You've got the big owl that you got to contend with. In a couple places, and then there's some that are just plain time things where like water is rising and you've got to keep above it so that you don't drown, kind of thing. It's a really cool game. It does get progressively harder, but it doesn't seem like it gets outrageously so. Because while it does get harder, you also get more abilities that enable you to do it better. So I think there's a bit of an offset there, but it is a fun game. Looks like a fun game. It's probably one that, if it was available on the 360, I would probably think about getting it. Even though I've seen the whole storyline, it just looks like it'd be fun to play, and it would be beautiful to experience, and I might experience things differently than this guy did. But yeah, it's probably the only game I've seen that's a 2D platforming game that I've gone, wow, this is really good. Certainly the only one where if I run across a video of it where I've watched more than like one episode. I watched an episode of Fallout 2, which is another 2D platform game, and because I was curious about it, because I watched Fallout 3, so I was curious about what 2 was like. And I watched one episode of it and decided, this is not for me. That technically speaking, that was a third person game. It wasn't really a platform but it was still kind of I'm kind of a sucker for the first person viewpoint in games, and it was definitely third person. So it wasn't technically a platform, although it kind of was. That was one where you were moving spatially forward, back, left, right, but you couldn't go up and down. So it's kind of the same type thing, just on different dimensions. Anyway, I think I will let that be that for today. I will be back tomorrow. I'll be talking to you then. So, be seeing you.